This is going to be a short episode. The aim of the episode is to make these two sections to be mobile responsive. Now, if you inspect the page and then you reduce the screen size to about a mobile size, you will notice that they are not very responsive. For example, if you click on the change button, you will notice that to the right, the input field is getting cut off, and these other ones are just disorderly. Okay, so let us begin with the one at the top to make it responsive. Now, the reason this one is getting cut off is because we gave it a fixed width in pixels instead of in percentage. So we want it to assume the same width as these other elements on the page, which is basically 100% plus some padding. Alright, so what we will do is, in our CSS file, we're going to scroll to the part where we define the styles for the featured post section. I'm just going to cut it and then bring it up and place it above the styles for tables. And then I will change from instead of providing a fixed width in pixels, I'm just going to make that the maximum width. And then we can now say, as long as you are not going beyond 400 pixels, you can occupy all the space that is available to you. And we are giving it in percentage so that it can actually change with the width of the screen. So now if we refresh, okay, it's going to be changing now. It's going to be responsive. It is no longer being cut off on the right side. Okay, so that's one of the issues. The second issue, not really an issue, but to make it more responsive, I want us to have some space at the top and bottom of the input field. So we are going to copy the breakpoint or the media query for mobile, and we paste it under the styles for the featured post form. And then we select the input itself, and what we are going to do is we'll give it some margin at the top, a margin of 8 pixels top and bottom, and then 0 pixels left and right. So we refresh, and this is looking much better. Okay, so we move on to the next section, which is these table actions. So we are also going to copy the media query and paste it under the table actions styles. And what we want is, we want these two inputs to have kind of the same width. Alright, so I'm going to select the filter or the table filter group because that's where we have the inputs. And then I'll specify one, the input element itself, the one that you entered the search term. And then the second is the select input, which is the one where you select the filter or variable. So for each of them, we'll give them a minimum width of about 150 pixels. And then we'll give them a margin of 8 pixels top and bottom, and then 0 pixels left and right. We will do a similar thing for the buttons, so let us also copy those. And then remember, we gave each of the buttons a class of BTN. So here they are, BTN. Each of them has a class of BTN. So we are going to select that BTN class, and we'll give it a margin of 8 pixels top and bottom, and then 0 pixels left and right. Now, before even doing that, we need to make sure that the buttons are being displayed one on top of the other, just like the input fields, instead of horizontally. So we are going to select their wrapper. We display it using flex, and we make sure the flex direction is column. So they should be displayed in the column direction. Okay, so let's refresh it now, and both of them look better. Once we have styled the buttons, it's going to look so much better. Okay, so we can confidently say these two sections are responsive enough for us to be able to use it on mobile. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll proceed to add the HTML for the table itself, and then possibly styling it also.